high times, but not high times. Bad times. Awful times.
Awful times. That's the sequel.
Yeah. Worst times at El Royale. That's what they do with those sequels. They just keep...
Yeah.
Like whatever I Know What You Did Last Summer. And I still know what you did last summer. I'll always know what you did last summer.
Bad Times at the El Royale is directed by Drew Goddard, who's the creator and writer for the Daredevil Netflix show. And he wrote like movies like The Martian, Cloverfield, World War Z, and he wrote a couple of episodes of Lost. So he's been around.
Yeah, and this movie stars Cynthia Erivo, Jeff Bridges, John Hamm, Dakota Johnson, Chris Hemsworth, and Lewis Pullman. And this movie is about 6 strangers who go to stay at a once but no longer successful hotel. And by the way, the reason why we have such a vague summary of this movie is because the trailers don't really show much about this movie at all.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know what this movie was about at all. I just knew it was a hotel. Pretty much I knew what the summary I just gave you before seeing this movie. But, you know, once you go into this movie, you actually learn so much more about this that you didn't actually know. And I feel like the creators of this film, didn't want you to know anything about it going in, so I really don't want to spoil any more than what they wanted to tell you before.
And one new thing that we want to start doing with our videos is that we're going to, on imdb.com, they have a little trivia section for each movie, and it gives like a little behind-the-scenes facts about the making of the movie and different little interesting facts about the movie. And so we want to pull up like the top 3 to 5 interesting facts from that, and we're going to write questions, and we're going to ask each other in each of these videos about the movie and see if we can get the questions correct. Which this isn't really, we're not being paid to do this. We're just wanting to do it just because we think it's like a fun little idea. So that's what we're going to start doing. So we're going to ask I'm going to ask Marquez one question now, and then we're going to ask the 2 other ones before we start grades. All right. First question. The El Royale is based off the famous Cal Neva, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, resort and casino that was once owned by A. Elvis Presley, B. Elton John, C. Frank Sinatra, or D. Donald Trump.
I'm gonna say Frank Sinatra.
Oh, well, I guess you cheated because that's correct.
It's correct. Okay. So the rest of the questions we are going to do later on after we are done with our review. So let's go ahead and get into this review. I want to try to be very vague with this review as much as possible, while still telling you how fantastic of a movie this is. Because this movie is probably one of my favorite movies of the whole year. I don't know if it's my favorite, but definitely one of the best movies of the whole year.
Yeah, it's this movie was definitely a really roller coaster of a movie. I mean, there's like so many like. I won't say like twists, but there's like so many things that are revealed throughout the movie. Yeah. You're like, oh wow, and then you're like, oh wow, when the next thing happens.
Yeah. What's really cool about this movie is just the way the story is told.
Yeah.
It's kind of split up and kind of goes back and forth between the film.
It's pretty non-linear at times.
Yeah, but it's still really easy to know what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a movie that tried to be kind of ridiculously like artistic with it.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out art, but at the same time, it was really well thought out. You know, a lot of the stuff in the movie. There's a lot of surprising aspects in this movie that I wasn't expecting to happen, like almost at all. And it's really hard to do with movies nowadays because a lot of movies don't really have that surprising aspect to it. But this movie really does that because it really just goes for a lot of things that are really well done.
One of the strongest aspects of this movie, I mean, the writing itself is pretty amazing, but the acting is like tremendous.
Oh yeah,
especially from Jeff Bridges, and then Chris Hemsworth in this movie.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Which he's probably one of the best performers in this movie because, for one thing, his accent that he usually has, it's like completely gone.
It's not just his accent; it's like his accent and his really deep voice.
Yeah, that too. Like, I honestly think he drew inspiration from David Koresh.
Oh yeah,
from the Waco situation.
Yeah,
because like he sort of had that kind of voice where it's like sort of like sinister, but at the same time it's sort of like it's not really meek, but you know.
Yeah, so like he had like a voice like you could like kind of you could trust.
Yeah,
but at the same time you could see that sinister,
dark
feeling. And he was really creepy in this movie.
He really was.
Yeah. But all the acting, especially from people I've never really seen before, and then again, like I probably need to watch a lot more movies, but
50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, I need to watch 50 Shades of Grey. I definitely need to throw on my must-watch list.
Yeah, but saying that, Dakota Johnson from the 50 Shades of Grey movie, she's in this, and she actually does really good.
Yeah, it was
surprising with that.
Which, like, I don't know how surprising it would be, because obviously I feel like 50 Shades of Grey, I feel like the people in that movie just didn't want to be there.
True.
And like I was even watching a Conan interview, and the main star of that movie, he was just making fun of it in the movie the whole time.
I know that the movie's up for a Razzie this year.
Yeah, 3 years in a row, yeah.
3 years in a row.
Yeah.
You were upset because you loved that the film...
Dude, if they invited me, I'd be there. Like, they just don't... I won one, and I didn't even get invited. I won the Razzie.
So, I mean, like, I feel like this movie with Dakota Johnson, it's a movie that she actually felt passion for. She actually wanted to be there. You know,
right.
It's actually, she knew that she was in a good, well thought out movie.
Right.
That wasn't just made for this stupid little fan base. You know, it was a movie that was made from the heart. You know.
Right.
Cynthia Arevio.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how you say it.
Yeah.
I haven't really seen her in anything else, but she did amazing.
Yeah, she was fantastic. Oh my goodness. And then Lewis Pullman.
Oh, holy crap!
Who was Bill Pullman's son.
Yeah, from Independence Day.
Yeah.
And, Spaceballs.
Yeah, he's one of he's like such a great character in this movie, which is really cool. I love the way the characters are done in this movie. Because you don't really, it's not really a movie where you get to know them before you meet them that well. You know, you don't even really get to know them that well within the hotel, right? They just do these little things, and I don't like I said, I want to try to be vague. But through the storytelling, the way the story is told, you do get to know them a lot more, and their problems and their issues in life, and why they're there. You know, why they're all there at the hotel at the same time. Yeah.
Which, speaking of that, the trailer itself was pretty vague, like you said. But one thing I wish they would have revealed in the trailer, which I won't say, but there's something revealed in the trailer about Jeff Bridges' character.
Yeah.
That I wish they would have kept secret, because it would have been a nice little surprise in the movie. But I mean, it's not really taken away from the movie itself, because it's just in the trailer.
One really good thing this movie really took advantage of that some films may not is the cinematography for this movie. And the cinematography I love because it's really close cinematography. And it was also really just kind of, especially I love the first scene. The first scene is shot really cool. It almost looks like a stage play. Oh, almost.
Yeah. Pretty much this whole movie kind of felt like a stage play. But
yeah. But especially that first scene, like it was just like no movement. It was literally just one shot. And I really felt like it was like a stage play almost but a lot of this movie does kind of different things with the cinematography. Like they go really close into people's faces, or they kind of just do kind of more towards claustrophobic shots almost. And it really makes you feel that kind of like disturbing feeling, or that kind of strange feeling that they're trying to get you to feel throughout this movie.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like slow panning shots where it's like not trying to reveal something, but then like slowly reveals it. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, in this movie, it's not I wouldn't really call it a comedy in any way, but it does have its decent share of like jokes, and they're not like the jokes. They're not over hilarious because it's not trying to be. There's no reason for it to be. You know? It's not. These are actual people that we're watching. You know, so they wanted to make sure that the comedy is just relief. You know, it just makes you laugh a little bit. But the comedy is actually something that would happen, and when it happens, it actually makes sense why it's there.
One little detail that I sort of noticed, which isn't really like a positive or negative, but there are like several shots. Well, not several, but there's more than one time when like somebody would like whisper something, and they would be like behind a door or something, or like far away from the other character. And the other character would be able to hear him like perfectly. Oh yeah. I was like, okay, how they hear him? But it's just like one little thing, because I noticed it one time, and then I noticed it a couple more times in the movie. I thought it was a little funny. Now I did have some minor issues with this movie. I mean, I did love it, but I feel like I would be lying if I didn't say that I didn't find certain points of the movie sort of uninteresting. Not really that I found it boring, just like I found certain times of the movie that I just found my mind just like checking out. And I feel like it's because some scenes just felt like they were drug on a little bit too long. I feel like every scene was needed, so I don't feel like any scene should have been deleted. Yeah. But I feel like some scenes just last a little too long. And that sort of brings me to my next point, which is also a pretty minor point, but I feel like it took a while to figure out what the movie was about. I mean, I'm not saying that every movie should start off with you knowing exactly what's going on, but it took a while for it to like really get going. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So like, and like I said, it's a minor point. I still really love the story and everything, but that's just how I felt.
Yeah, with me though, weirdly enough, it's actually like the complete opposite for me. I actually found that I feel like the movie was really long, you know, but I feel like I could have been fine with it being even longer.
Yeah,
because I felt like every second was needed.
Right.
And every second
once it got going, I could definitely feel it.
Yeah.
Like I definitely wanted it to last longer. Once it started going, it just took a while to like get there. So.
Yeah. But even for me, the beginning I felt like was still interesting, and it was still pretty cool to meet the characters. I just I really felt like every second was taken advantage of, and that's like I really couldn't find a flaw with I really almost couldn't find a flaw with the entire movie. Like I really cannot think of a flaw that I like with this movie that I felt.
And my last issue with the movie, which I don't even want to really call it an issue because one of the most minor of issues I had with it was, but it felt like it was sort of like a huge coincidence that they were sort of all at this hotel together, which I don't really want to go too far into because I don't want to talk too much about the characters, but it started to feel like a huge coincidence, which at the same time, like I said, it's not really an issue because, I mean, it could definitely happen. Like, all these people could definitely be at this hotel on the same night. It could happen, but it just felt like a coincidence to me. All right, so before we say our grades for this movie, I'm gonna ask Marquez the last two questions from the IMDb trivia. All right, so Marquez.
Yes.
Number 2. Chris Hemsworth had to lose how many pounds of muscle weight immediately after Avengers 4 wrapped to star in this film?
Probably a lot.
A, which you're still pretty muscular.
Yeah.
A, 25 to 30 pounds. B, 40 to 45. C, 15 to 20. Or D, 0.
I'm gonna say C.
15 to 20?
Yeah.
You would be incorrect.
Incorrect.
25 to 30.
You know, weirdly enough, he's actually done that before. He played in some movie about like driving race car driving.
Oh crap! What was Rush?
Yeah, Rush. He had to lose a lot of muscle for that one too.
Yeah, I never saw it.
Yeah, neither did I. What's the third question?
Who was originally cast in John Hamm's role before eventually dropping out? A, Ryan Gosling. B, Willem Dafoe. C, Russell Crowe. Or D, Kevin Bacon.
I'm gonna say Russell Crowe.
So your final answer?
Yes, that is my final answer.
So, you got 2 of 3 questions right.
Ooh, nice. So, guys, here is my final verdict for this movie. I felt like this movie was flawless. Okay? I honestly did. I can't think of a single problem with this movie. Obviously, Zach's an idiot, so he found some problems with this movie. No, but I really felt like this movie was perfectly directed, perfectly acted. Cinematography was fantastic. Acting was amazing. Story was great. Not a second unused for me. So I'm going to go ahead and say that The Bad Times at the El Royale is 100% awesome.
Yeah, guys, this movie is definitely going to be on the top of my list for this year. I definitely would recommend you go see it once it comes out. I just did have some minor issues, but they didn't really take over the movie. I did find the movie overall to be interesting. I felt like it was like pretty upbeat. It kept you on your toes. So I'm going to say that Bad Times at the El Royale is 88% awesome.
Well, guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, comment and let us know what you thought about The Bad Times at the El Royale. It doesn't come out for another, 10 days now? So
yeah, October 12th.
Yeah, so whenever you watch that movie, and if you care enough to come back to this video at all, let us know in the comments below. And if you haven't seen it already, you can lie about it if you want to. I don't care. And just tell us which one of us you agree with, which we didn't really have different opinions, but you can just tell us.
If you had issues or not.
If you had issues with the movies and what your issues were.
And don't forget to follow us on social media with Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at 2 Awesome Men.
And as always, thank you so much for watching, and you will see us later.